Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. And just like that, we are on match day 15. There were midweek matches which I totally forgot about, hence no predictions for match day 14. And actually, Tottenham and Bournemouth, Fulham and Brighton matches are still due to be played this evening. But I thought I'm going to get ahead of time and make some predictions. I'm not going to go into the league table this week, but let's have a little catch up of what's gone on in the midweek fixtures. City and Villa finally break their winless streak with victories against Forest and Brentford. A sigh of relief around the Etihad as Manchester City finally woke up from their mini crisis. Ruben Amorim tasted defeat for the very first time as Man United manager as they succumbed to the set piece animals that are Arsenal. Mo Salah continued to prove that he isn't quite finished just yet in what is the best match of the season so far. Chelsea, whether Maresca likes it or not, are genuine title contenders. Ruud van Nistelrooy got off to a winning start as manager for Leicester, and Ipswich, Wolves and Southampton continue to struggle. So let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into these predictions, shall we? And the weekend kicks off with the Merseyside derby, the very last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. In this match, we have 84 wins for Everton, 125 wins for Liverpool. Everton won the last match between these two, but have lost 4 of the last 6 games. Everton coming off the back of a brilliant 4-0 victory against the world's worst defence, Wolves. Liverpool succumbed in the last few minutes as their goalkeeper just decided that he wasn't going to bother leaving the ball coming in from the set piece in an absolute thrilling match at St James's Park. Mo Salah looks as good as he has ever been. The last derby ever at Goodison Park, there is going to be some emotion. I'm hoping that Everton come to do some damage to Liverpool, but Liverpool need to continue this great form they are in if they are to take advantage of Man City's slump and stay ahead of Arsenal. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Liverpool. Next, we have Aston Villa versus Southampton. 32 wins for Villa, 29 wins for Southampton. Villa have won the last 3 Premier League games between these two sides and finally found a victory after 8 games without a win in the Premier League. Southampton are in all kinds of trouble and continue not to learn from their mistakes. Although they were very unlucky against Brighton to have a harsh VAR call go against them in the dying minutes of the game. Southampton absolutely destroyed by Chelsea, and in all fairness, the 5-1 scoreline flattered them dearly. I'm going to go for Unai Emery's men to keep the form going, so I'm going for a 3-0 win for Aston Villa. Next, we have Brentford versus Newcastle in this match. Not much day to go on, but we've got 4 wins for Brentford, 13 wins for Newcastle. Brentford have lost 5 of the last 6 games against Newcastle in the Premier League and have actually never beaten them in the league. Brentford's home form this season has been fantastic. Newcastle, of course, coming off the back of that thrilling match against Liverpool. This is a close one to call because I don't think Newcastle, for their last few results, have been particularly bad, and Brentford are very good at home, as we know. So I'm going to sit on the fence here. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Next, we have Crystal Palace versus Manchester City. 17 wins for Palace, 38 wins for City. Palace haven't beaten City in the league since 2021. City, of course, finally ended their winless streak and looked very good against Forest. In particular, Jack Grealish in his new left centre midfield position. And I expect City to definitely kick on from here and grab a win at Palace. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Manchester City. Next, we have City's cross-city rivals, Manchester United at home versus Nottingham Forest. 54 wins for Manchester United, 34 wins for Nottingham Forest. Of course, Ruben Amorim suffered his first defeat as Manchester United manager, and for large parts of the game defended very well as Amorim deployed a more defensive style. Forest, of course, just lost to Manchester United's City neighbours. we can expect a more attacking display here at home from Manchester United than the attacking display against Arsenal as Amorim searches for another victory. I expect Forest to struggle here, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for Manchester United. Next, we have the first of 2 London derbies this weekend. It's Fulham versus Arsenal. In this match, 9 wins for Fulham, 42 wins for Arsenal. Arsenal, of course, are coming off the back of 2 very good victories, a thrashing against West Ham and then a very, very solid victory against Manchester United. They really look like they have got their groove back with Martin Odegaard coming back into the team. Their set pieces continue to just tear teams apart. They know what's going to happen, but they can't do anything about it. Fulham have only won 1 of the last 12 matches between these 2, and it did actually come last season. I feel like Arsenal can't afford any slip-ups here, especially if Manchester City are really and truly going to come back to form after their victory against Forest, and I expect Arsenal to win here 2-0. Next, we have Ipswich versus Bournemouth. 14 wins for Ipswich, 11 wins for Bournemouth. The last 4 matches between these 2 sides have ended up in a draw, but they haven't played each other in a league match in 10 years. Bournemouth looking very good this season. Ipswich continuing to flatter, to deceive. Lost against Palace, of course, and didn't look like they posed an attacking threat for most of the match. Bournemouth, on the other hand, Evan Nilsson's doing fantastic. Semenyo is brilliant. And I'm really liking what Areola is doing with his team this season. I think it's going to be a good match, so I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for Bournemouth. Next, we have Leicester versus Brighton. 19 wins for Leicester, 15 wins for Brighton. 2 of the last 3 have ended in a draw. Brighton, of course, are riding high this season. Leicester got off to a winning start with Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge, although West Ham did have a bunch of shots and chances. I expect Brighton to be able to open Leicester as West Ham did, and if they do, I think Brighton are more capable of taking their chances, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win for Brighton. Next, we have the second London derby of the weekend, Tottenham Hotspurs versus Chelsea. 56 wins for Spurs, 79 wins for Chelsea. Spurs have only beaten Chelsea once in the last 11 Premier League meetings. Chelsea in brilliant form and find themselves as genuine title contenders in second place. Spurs, as ever, and it's easy to say, have been so hot and cold this season. The easy answer here is to say if Spurs turn up, they could easily roll over Chelsea, or they could get rolled over themselves. So, as ever, when I'm not too sure of the result, I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go for a 2-all draw. The weekend finishes off with 2 teams who absolutely desperately need wins. West Ham versus Wolves. 35 wins for West Ham, 24 wins for Wolves. West Ham have won 5 of the last 5 matches between the 2 sides. Whichever way you put this, whichever way you look at it, whichever team you look at it, whichever manager you look at, both of these teams need wins. Wolves can't stop leaking goals. West Ham can't stop leaking goals. So let's just hope that it's going to be a high-scoring game. Lopetegui might not even be there come the weekend, as apparently there's going to be a very, very important meeting between the West Ham board on Friday to discuss whether they should send him back to Spain or they should keep him for a little bit longer. But all I know is the man needs a victory, and I think his West Ham players are going to pull it out the bag. So I'm going to go for a 3-2 win for West Ham. There you go, guys. A little bit of a cut-down video in comparison to my normal predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think I've got the predictions right? I've got most of them wrong this season. Let's fucking face it. I don't know what I am talking about. Please tell me that. But as ever, if you are liking the content, please subscribe, set yourself up for notifications, and I will catch you at week 16.